Namaste students, welcome back to my channel. Students, in our previous videos, we have studied about number of atomic properties like atomic radii, ionization enthalpy and electron gain enthalpy. Today, in this video, we'll talk about another atomic property, that is the electronegativity. So without any delay, let's get started. So first of all, we'll talk about the definition of the electronegativity. That what is the meaning of the electronegativity? So what is electronegativity? Electronegativity is actually a tendency of an atom to attract the shared pair of electron towards itself. When an atom is present in the bonded state, then the tendency of that particular atom to attract the shared pair of electron is known as its electronegativity. So if I write the definition of the electronegativity, it is tendency of an atom to attract the shared pair of electron towards itself in a covalent bond. So this is the definition of the electronegativity, that electronegativity of any atom is the tendency of that atom to attract the shared pair of electron towards itself in a covalent bond. And why I am using here covalent bond? Because I am using here the word share. Share means sharing of electron, and we studied in our junior classes that due to the transfer of the electrons we get ionic bond, but due to the sharing of the electrons we get covalent bond. So electronegativity of any atom is the tendency of that atom to attract the shared pair of electron towards that particular atom. Now, if we recall the atomic radii, the ionization enthalpy, the electron gain enthalpy. In ionization enthalpy and electron gain enthalpy definition, we have introduced a term, that is the isolated gaseous atom. Means we calculate ionization enthalpy and electron gain enthalpy of an isolated gaseous atom, means an atom which is separated from the other atoms. We have to calculate the ionization enthalpy and electron gain enthalpy of that particular atom, but we are calculating the electronegativity. We are finding the electronegativity of an atom which is bonded with the another atom. So there is a difference in the ionization enthalpy, electron gain enthalpy and electronegativity. What are the main difference? We will study later on. So this is the definition of the electronegativity. Now, ionization enthalpy, we can measure ionization enthalpy, we can measure electron gain enthalpy, but we can't measure electronegativity. Why we can't measure electronegativity? Because electronegativity is actually the tendency of an atom which depends on its neighboring atom. Means which atom is present in its neighbor, which atom to which atom that particular atom is bonded, in that factor the electronegativity of that particular atom depends. So electronegativity is a non-measurable quantity, but still many of the scales have been given for calculation of the electronegativity, like Pauling scale, Millikan scale. Many scales are given, and out of these scales, Pauling scale is the most efficiently used scale. So first thing, this electronegativity is a non-measurable quantity, but it, despite this, many scales have been discovered, like Pauling scale, Millikan scale, Jaffe scale, and out of these scale, the most used scale, or the scale which is mostly used by the used for the calculation of the electronegativity is the Pauling scale. It is Pauling's scale. Now actually the electronegativity is a non-measurable quantity, but actually we compare the electronegativity of different atoms on the basis of the electronegativity of the most electronegative element of periodic table, that is fluorine. Means we are simply comparing the electronegativities of different atoms with the fluorine, and that we are using as a electronegativity number, electronegativity value for that particular atom. So it's just a relative number with respect to the fluorine. We can't, the different electronegativities values for different atoms are not the exact measurable values. These are actually the relative values with respect to the fluorine. Why fluorine? Because fluorine is the most electronegative element of the periodic table. So if we talk about the Millikan scale, so according to Millikan scale, if we have two atoms A and B and both the atoms are bonded together by the covalent bond, so the difference in the electronegativity, is calculated by chi A minus chi B. Now what is this X represent here? This X represent here KII, that is chi, and it represent electronegativity. It represents electronegativity, means electronegativity is represented by X and it is pronounced as chi. Its pronunciation is chi. So chi A minus chi B, where A and B are the bonded atoms. So chi A minus chi B is 0.1017 under root delta. Now what is delta here? Delta is EAB minus under root EAA multiplied by EBB. Now what is EAB here? EAB is the bond dissociation enthalpy to the amount of the energy which is required to break the bond between A and B. So this is the bond dissociation enthalpy of the bond which is present between A and B. Bond dissociation enthalpy, which the amount of bond energy which is required to break the bond which is present between two A atoms, and the amount of the energy which is required to break the bond between two B atoms. So through this we can calculate delta, and by calculating delta and multiplying with this unit, we can calculate the electronegativity difference of two atoms. So this is the Pauling scale, which is widely used scale. Other scales we also have, but one thing kept in your mind that electron gain enthalpy is a measurable quantity, ionization enthalpy is a measurable quantity, but we can't measure electronegativity. We simply express electronegativity as a relative number with respect to the fluorine. Why fluorine? Because it is the most electronegative element. Now, next, if we talk about the factors affecting electronegativity, what are the different factors which affects the electronegativity? So, the different factors which affects the electronegativity are, first one is the oxidation state. First one is the oxidation state. Oxidation state. Now, greater the oxidation state, higher the electronegativity. Greater the oxidation state, higher the electronegativity. Now, suppose I have two salts of iron. One is FeSO4, another one is Fe2SO4 whole thrice. Now, in first case, the oxidation state of Fe is +2, and in second case, the oxidation state of Fe is +3. So, I said greater the oxidation state, higher is the electronegativity. It means Fe3 positive is more electronegative than Fe2 positive. Fe3 positive is more electronegative than Fe2 positive. So greater the oxidation state, higher the electronegativity. Now the reason behind this, what is the reason behind this? Now suppose, let us consider aluminium. Clear? In aluminium we know that we have 13 protons and 13 electrons. Now suppose I am converting aluminium into Al positive, and second side I am converting aluminium into Al3 positive. Now in this the oxidation state is +1, in this the oxidation state is +3. So in this is Al positive. In this the number of electrons are 12, but the number of protons are 13. So In this, we have strong nuclear force of attraction as compared to this, because in this we have 13, but in this 13 proton has to hold 12 electron. So the effective nuclear charge becomes greater. In this, we have 10 electrons, and for 10 electrons we have 13 proton. Now, if we compare these two, now out of these two, in which species, either Al positive or Al3 positive, in which species we get strong nuclear force of attraction? We get strong nuclear force of attraction. Here we have 12 electrons, and 12 electrons are held by 13 protons. Here we have only 10 electrons, and for 10 electrons also we have 13 protons. So where the nuclear force of attraction becomes strong, effective nuclear charge becomes strong in this case. Means in this case, the effective nuclear charge in the outermost shell becomes strong, as a result of which it becomes more electronegative, because its nuclear force of attraction is greater than this. So due to the increase in the oxidation state, what happened? Electronegativity increases. So this is the first factor, that is the oxidation state. Now the second factor is the substituent attached to the atom. Substituent attached to the atom. Substituent attached to the atom. Now, for example, sorry, I have two molecules, CH3I and CF3I. CH3I and CF3I. Now you have to tell that in these two compounds, out of these two compounds, in which compound carbon is more electronegative? In which compound carbon is more electronegative? Because in the starting I told you that electronegativity of an atom is not fixed. Electronegativity of an atom depends upon the adjacent atom which is attached to that particular atom. Now in this carbon is attached with 3 hydrogen and 1 iodine. In this carbon is attached with 3 fluorine and 1 iodine. So if I open this, it becomes like this, and if I open this, it is like this. Now in both the compound, this bond is common. This bond is common. So there is an equal influence of this bond, but 3 bonds are attached with the hydrogen. Now out of hydrogen and carbon, as we move from left to right in a period, what happens? Atomic size decreases. Why atomic size decreases? Because nuclear force of attraction increases. And because nuclear force of attraction increases, so electronegativity also increases, because electronegativity is tendency to attract the shared pair of electron, and tendency to attract the shared pair of electron increases with increase in the effective nuclear charge. So carbon is more electronegative than hydrogen. If carbon is more electronegative than hydrogen, means carbon attracts the shared pair of electron towards itself. Carbon attracts the shared pair of electron towards itself. And if carbon attracts the shared pair of electron towards itself, then what happens? The electron cloud around the carbon, around the carbon is already greater in amount, as a result of which it doesn't require extra electron. Now in this case, fluorine is more electronegative than carbon, so fluorine attracts the shared pair of electron towards itself, as a result of which the electron cloud density around the carbon decreases. Now carbon requires electron, so this carbon becomes electronegative. This carbon becomes more electronegative as compared to this. Clear? In this, what happened? Carbon is attached with the hydrogen, and because carbon is more electronegative than hydrogen, so carbon attracts the shared pair of electron towards itself, and because it has already sufficient amount of electron cloud, so it does not require any electron cloud from outside, so it don't attract the shared pair of electron, it don't try to attract the shared pair of electron or extra electron. But in this case, the electron cloud density around the carbon decreases. The electron cloud density around the carbon decreases, so it requires electron, and that's why it becomes electronegative. It has the tendency to accept electron, that's why it becomes electronegative. So due to the replacement of the hydrogen by fluorine, the electronegativity of the carbon changes. So the electronegativity depends upon these two factors. One is the oxidation state. Greater the oxidation state, higher is the electronegativity, and another one is the substituent attached to the atom. Now we'll study the variation of the electronegativity in periodic table. The variation of electronegativity in periodic table. Though the variation is not specific, because electronegativity value is not a correct value. It is a relative value with respect to the fluorine. But still, variation in period. If we talk about in period, so what happened? As we move left to right in a period, what happened? Shell remains same, but nuclear force of attraction increases. Due to increase in nuclear force of attraction, atomic size decreases, and due to the decrease in the atomic size, the tendency to attract the shared pair of electron towards itself increases. Clear? So as we move left to right in a period, due to increase in effective nuclear charge, what happened? Tendency to attract the shared pair of electron increases, as a result of which, as we move from left to right, in a period, what happened? Electronegativity increases. Electronegativity increases. But if we talk about the last group, that is the noble gas group, that is 18th group, because it is fully filled, that's why it don't have the tendency to attract the shared pair of electron, they becomes electropositive. So if we talk about up to 17th group, as we move left to right in a period, what happened? Electronegativity increases due to the increase in the effective nuclear charge. And if we talk about group, then on moving top to bottom in a group, what happened? As we move top to bottom in a group, size increases. Due to the increase in the size, the effective nuclear charge in the outermost shell decreases, and if the effective nuclear charge in the outermost shell decreases, then it becomes difficult for that atom to attract the shared pair of electron, so electronegativity also decreases. So this here the electronegativity decreases. So as we move left to right in a period, what happened? Electronegativity increases. But as we move top to bottom in a group, then what happened? Electronegativity decreases. Now next we will talk about the applications of the electronegativity, and why we don't have exceptions in electronegativity, because electronegativity is not a calculated value, not an exact value, it is a relative value with respect to the fluorine. So if we talk about the application, now with the help of the electronegativity, we get to know about the metallic and non-metallic character. Metallic and non-metallic character. Now we are saying that as we move left to right in a period, what happened? Electronegativity increases. Means tendency to attract the shared pair of electron increases, and if tendency to attract the shared pair of electron increases, means non-metallic character increases. So with increase in the electronegativity, non-metallic character increases, and with decrease in the electronegativity, metallic character increases. So if electronegativity increases, then non-metallic character increases. And if electronegativity decreases, then metallic character increases. So with the help of the electronegativity value, we can predict that whether it is metal or a non-metal. Next, with the help of the electronegativity value, we can predict polar and non-polar bonds. Now, in your junior classes, you have studied that we have ionic bonds, which are due to the transfer of the electron, and we have covalent bonds, which are due to the sharing of the electrons. But do you know that we have two types of covalent bond? Polar covalent bonds and non-polar covalent bonds. Now, which bonds are polar covalent bond and which bonds are non-polar covalent bonds? It totally depends upon the two atoms which are bonded in that particular bond. Now, suppose if I have H2 molecule, now I know that here one electron is shared by first hydrogen and another electron is shared by second hydrogen. So basically it is a covalent bond. Now it is either polar or non-polar. It is a non-polar covalent bond. Why it is a non-polar covalent bond? Because in this both the atoms are hydrogen. So both the electronegativity of both the atom is same, and due to the same electronegativity, the shared pair of electron is equally distributed between these two hydrogen. That's why this is a non-polar covalent bond. Now let us take one more example, HF. Let us take one more example. Now this HF is also a covalent bond. One electron is shared by hydrogen, another electron is shared by fluorine. Now still this is a polar covalent bond. Now why it is a polar covalent bond? Because fluorine is more electronegative than hydrogen. If fluorine is more electronegative than hydrogen, then fluorine try to attract the shared pair of electron towards itself. As a result of which, the electron cloud becomes more towards the fluorine as compared to hydrogen. Now suppose here I have hydrogen, here I have fluorine, and this is the middle portion. Because fluorine is more electronegative than the hydrogen, so fluorine try to attract the shared pair of electron towards itself. Now, my finger is here. Now, this is not half portion. This portion is shifted towards fluorine side and this portion is for hydrogen. So, as a result of which, the electron cloud more towards the fluorine. So, there is a partial negative charge created above the fluorine. Why partial? Because complete negative charge comes when the electron is taken by the fluorine. But here fluorine is not taking the electron. Fluorine is just attracting the electron cloud towards itself. So therefore here partially negative charge and here partially positive charge. So due to the generation of the poles, it become a polar covalent bond. So with the help of the electronegativity difference, we get to know that whether the bond is a polar covalent bond or a non-polar covalent bond. It is a polar or a non-polar covalent bond. So if we have same atoms attached in a bond, then the bond is polar. And if we have different electronegative atoms bonded to a bond, then bonded to form a bond, then the bond is known as non-polar bond. So with the help of the electronegativity, we get to know about the metallic, non-metallic character and the polar and the non-polar bonds. Now we'll talk about the difference in the electronegativity and electron gain enthalpy. The difference in the electronegativity and electron gain enthalpy, because in both the case we are saying that the atom is attracting the electron, means the atom is accepting the electron. So if we talk about the difference between the electronegativity and electron gain enthalpy. So the first difference is this electron gain enthalpy is a property of isolated gaseous atom. This electron gain enthalpy is the property of an isolated gaseous atom, but this electronegativity is the property of an bonded atom. Bonded atom. First thing means we calculate electron gain enthalpy when the atom is separated from the other atom. When no one is around the atom, we will calculate the electron gain enthalpy. But we will calculate electronegativity when the atom is bonded. Next, it is a measurable quantity. It is a measurable quantity. That is, electron gain enthalpy is a measurable quantity. But if we talk about the electronegativity, it is a non-measurable quantity and it is a relative number with respect to the fluorine. It is a measurable number with respect to the fluorine. And why fluorine? Because fluorine is the most electronegative element of the periodic table. Next, electron gain enthalpy of an element is fixed. Means if we have to calculate the electron gain enthalpy of chlorine, the electron gain enthalpy of chlorine remain fixed. Clear? But the electronegativity of an element is not fixed. Element is not fixed. Clear? Why it is not fixed? Because in the above example we have studied that if we have CH3I and if we have CF3I, in both the case the electronegativity of carbon is different. Why? Because in first case it is bonded with 3 hydrogen and 1 iodine. In second case it is bonded with 3 fluorine and 1 iodine. So due to the change in the substituent, the electronegativity also changes. So the electronegativity of an element, of an atom is fixed, but the electron gain enthalpy, but the electronegativity of an atom or element changes with the change in the atmosphere. So these are the difference between the electronegativity and the electron gain enthalpy. So students, in this video we have studied about the electronegativity. What are the different factors affecting electronegativity, variations of electronegativity, applications of electronegativity, and how electronegativity differ from the electron gain enthalpy. So that's all for today. I'll see you in my next video with a new topic.